Hey guys, so it's 2020 now. Can you believe it? It's been a long time since we've talked about pickup artistry, how it fits into the world of the men at BROJO, how it affects our lives, what we can learn, what we can observe from it. And I thought that I would share what BROJO's current view of PUA is, dating and relationships, and the best way to approach this incredibly important area of our lives. First of all, as all of you know, whether you're a man or a woman watching this, sex is super, super important to us. Your reptile brain is all about survival. That means your survival, and that also means survival of the species. So for the last 320 million years, parts of your mind have been evolving to really, really drive you towards sex. Your mammal brain, which has connection, love, family, social groups, only 250 million years old, and your human mind is only about 50,000 years of modern human behavior. So you have a huge amount of programming that drives you towards sex. The way that people tend to approach forming new relationships today, let me say this, the way that men are taught to approach relationships today involves one of two angles. Either I'm looking for a long-term, meaningful relationship, in which case I'm probably trying to build a friendship first, slowly develop the relationship, express attraction at some point down the road, hopefully develop that into a long-term dating relationship followed by marriage and kids and that entire pathway of thought. The other way to form relationships is simply about enjoying sex. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And here's where we think pickup artistry absolutely falls on its face. In either of those two scenarios of relationship building or of interacting with the opposite sex or the same sex for some of you, this is going to be a very difficult way to create either kind of relationship successfully and fairly to everyone involved. If you're trying to build a long-term relationship and you go into it with a pickup mentality, you're performing, you're pretending to be whatever you think this person likes, you are not being authentic, you're not being yourself, you're putting on a whole lot of game and a big show. And at some point, that's got to stop. The show has to end. You have to pull the curtain back and turn up the house lights. And what's this person going to think when they see who you actually are? Will they want to date you? Will they want to continue a relationship? Or will they feel absolutely betrayed at how inauthentic you've been since day one in their relationship? I find that far, far more difficult than going into an interaction from the very beginning, being who I am. If the person that I'm interested in likes that, this is a win. If for any reason they don't like that, then this is a relationship that was never going to succeed long term. In which case, I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting their time, and I should be out looking for a better fit. So scenario one, building a long-term relationship, pickup fails. Let's talk about scenario two, getting sex. And this is where a lot of guys view pickup as being valuable. They can go out with some game and a bit of a dog and pony show, strut their stuff, do a little bit of manipulation and a little bit of escalation and a little bit of this and that, and try to form a sexual connection with someone. And oftentimes, this is done in a kind of inauthentic, manipulative, bait and switch manner. Hey, I really like you. I think you're really fantastic. I'd love to take you out. And they'll pretend to be genuinely interested in this person for a date or two with real long-term potential for a real relationship. And then switch, oh, we had sex, and then they're satisfied, and then they're off to new adventures. Now, this is very, very unfair. More than that, it's unnecessary. If you want sex and really no long-term relationship, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that if that's where you are in your life. I think you can do better and create something deeper, but that's up to you to discover. If that's all you're looking for, all you need to do is be authentic about it. You will meet women, you will meet all kinds of people out there who feel the same way at this moment about this relationship. If you're not sure about that, give it a try. How many times have you tried? Try again. You will be surprised at how often you simply being straight up about what you're looking for will bring someone closer to you and make them feel safe, that you're not trying to lie or manipulate them, and that you are actually being as authentic as you can possibly be in this situation. I've been in that place in my life in the past, and I found that was unbelievably successful in building connections very quickly. Was simply say, hey, I'm really not looking for a relationship right now. I've come out of one recently, not ready to give my heart out anymore at this point, but I am absolutely interested in getting to know you better, and I think you're incredibly attractive. And things progress. All it takes is that bit of honesty. And this is what it really comes down to. In BROJO's perspective, whenever it comes to building relationship or any type of relationship dynamics between between you and anybody in your world, honesty is at the center. Honesty simply means telling people your true intentions, telling people your true thoughts, avoiding any sort of hiding or manipulation. There will always be problems that you end up creating in this situation if you withhold the truth. Now, some of you have noticed that some of BROJO's practices in our social skills development involves going out and meeting strangers. And I got a great comment from one of our men the other day that this looks a lot like what I see in Pick-Up. I thought BROJO was against Pick-Up, as I've just related. And I thought that was something that needed to be addressed as well. So I personally take some of the men out to do approaching of strangers, starting conversations, building connections. And the point is to develop social skills, to get past your limiting beliefs, to learn how to say hello, to learn how to be social, to make someone else's day better, to create a new adventure that you get to be a part of that couldn't have existed without you inviting someone into a conversation. And this is a really, really great experience that more often than not works beautifully 90% of the time, and 10% of the time you might actually just not be able to connect with this stranger. They're busy running somewhere or they're busy reading their book, and that's totally fine. And what I find when I work with our men on social approaching is that the ability to create relationships anytime, anywhere, with anyone, in any situation, is one of the most powerful and confidence building exercises that you can do. We talked a little bit before about the different aspects of your brain, the reptilian brain, the mammal brain, the human brain. All of our social drives, the core of our social drives, are in our mammal brain. So for the last 250 million years, we have really deeply valued our ability to connect with others, our ability to be approved of or to relate to others, our ability to walk in and create a new friend in a social situation where we've just encountered a complete stranger. If you look at the mammal kingdom, you can see this too. Watch two dogs walking down the street that have never seen each other before. They'll notice each other. They'll interact with each other in some way, oftentimes very positively. Sometimes one of them will be incredibly threatened, and you end up with a little yapping chihuahua situation. And you see that in people as well. The point is that our mind is full of limiting beliefs that tend to create a situation for us where we view ourselves as not good enough. Social approaching is one of the most powerful ways I've found to combat that. What you find is that your perception of how the world sees you is flat out wrong, and that your ability to improve someone's day and your ability to create friends, perhaps friends with future potential for something deeper, is just one of the most amazing superpowers that you can develop. The ideal man and the ideal woman that we imagine someone developing into through intense self-development is one who is absolutely fearless in social connections, who can walk into any situation with full respect, full honesty, full authenticity, and simply say, "Hey, I'm Mike. It's nice to meet you. We've never talked before. Tell me a little bit about yourself." And immediately launch straight into a new friendship. So if you've ever had doubts as to whether social approaching is worth your time, whether it's something you want to actually invest some of your attention in, I highly encourage you to step back and think about whether you actually feel any anxiety. Most people do, because this is not something that we practice often. I have a whole lot of theories as to how this has come to be as society grows. If you're curious on some of the psychological side of our development socially, have a read of Yuval Harari's Sapiens. It's a fantastic book. It will tell you a lot about evolutionary psychology and between the transition between mammal and human, some of the critical steps that have happened for us. And all of this is very important to understand for you to become the best human possible. If you really struggle with social connections, look me up, Mike at brojo.org. I'd love to hear from you.